Hello, viewers. My name is Kunle Adifokun, and my co-host today is Abraham. Today, we are honored to have Tope Tokan-Lawal as our esteemed guest, who will share our invaluable insight and experiences as a real-life role model. Tope Tokan is a dual qualified lawyer with over 10 years of experience in corporate, commercial, construction, family law, and U.S. immigration. She's also a committed child welfare advocate and has a strong track record of pro bono and community service work. You are welcome to the role model.
Hi, thank you for having me. Hi, Kunle. Hi, Abraham. So should I go ahead and just talk about myself and then we'll get to questions?
Yes, I think we can actually have it that way.
Okay, that sounds good. Hi, everyone. My name is Tope Tokan-Lawal. Like he said, I'm a lawyer with 10 plus years of experience. I currently have my own law firm, so I'm kind of like, I have about 3 or more titles right now. So I have my own law firm. So I'm a partner in my law firm here in Lagos. It's in Ilupeju, and we do a bit of everything, but mostly litigation, corporate law, real estate, yes, and a few other areas. Litigation is my core area, but I also have to dabble in so many other areas. And then my second, I guess that's my first hat. And then my second hat is the Token Foundation, being the Token Foundation chair, where we raise money to support children, particularly children in need of marginalized children, mostly so far in Lagos, all over Lagos, and then Ibadan in Oyo State, and then Ikiru in Osun State. Typically what we do is we go beyond the typical donating stuff or paying for school fees. What we do is you need a well-rounded support for your education to thrive. So it's more than there's a lot when you get your scholarship, for your school fees get paid, but you also still require the financial support for your school uniforms, your welfare, daily stipends for snacks. If you go to school every day and you don't eat during breaks, it's difficult. So yes, we try to do that well-rounded support for kids, and also mentoring, because I also have a very close relationship with at least 35 kids that I see every week. And then my third hat is the Child Rights and Juvenile Justice Center, which is me going to court for children in need of legal support. So it's typically trying to help these kids get justice. So it started off with trying to get children that were sent to the correctional center in Oregon released so they can go back to school. And it's morphed into just having more cases, because I have a relationship with the officers and the principals in the correctional centers across Lagos. So I tend to get phone calls. Oh, we have a child. He's been here for 9 months. His parents cannot pay for a lawyer. Those kind of, and he needs to get out. It's not a strong case. Please help us get him out. Those kind of cases. So yeah, those are my 3 hats. And then obviously I dabble in some other things like social media and all of that. But yes, that's what I do. And I really enjoy everything that I do, actually.
That's great. That's lovely. Good to have you here. Okay. Yeah. So really, would like to get to know some few like personal stories, like inside life. How was how was Tope Toko's um childhood? Briefly, briefly tell us about your childhood and environment, how it really had influence on your decisions and contributing to who you are today.
Okay. I would say for the most part, my childhood was very good. So there was ups and downs. There was like serious downs, but and my childhood, when I talk about it, also it will help you kind of feel like, aha, this is why she does what she does. But I was born into a wealthy family. My dad was very wealthy. He was married to my mom, and then everything. It was good, but then he passed away when I was 6 years old in a car accident. He was traveling, and then all of a sudden things just completely changed. His family kind of tried to dispossess of so many things, And so I started feeling the disadvantage from there. But thankfully, my mom, she never worked before she didn't work before he passed away, but then she started working shortly before he passed away. So she was able to leverage on the business and her experience. And I mean, I guess the fact that she has 6 children to take care of. So she worked very hard and she literally gave us, I think, she gave us the best life. And it's funny because the other day, my mom's best friend, she sent me my baby picture and it took me back because I genuinely felt like my mom was my best friend until I became a teenager. You know, the natural madness that comes with being a teenager. But yeah, she really did what she could. And we ended up we all, I think, had the best life because she didn't deny us love. She was always supportive. Anything that had to do with school, you can call at midnight and say, Mommy, there's an excursion. I need to pay for this. And she's always like, oh yeah, tomorrow I'll send somebody, because in those days now you send somebody to bring cash to school, they'll pay for it physically, you know. So those are things I try to emulate, because I feel like a lot of these kids, they want to have a great life, but they don't have somebody that they can call and say, Mommy, I need to do this. Because even if they did call, the mommy's answer will be, me, I've not even eaten. Is it the extra stuff that I need to pay for? So with this 28 kids that I said I mentor, that's what we are having. That's what we do with them, because they're in institutions across Lagos State and they can call at any time and say, and Tope, we need to pay for this. We need to buy textbook. And we're like, okay, we have so many bank accounts of teachers and officials in their schools. You know, there's no, even the woman that sells biscuits outside the gates, she'll get this 1,000 naira so that the child can eat biscuits, you know, those kind of things. So yeah, it's what, and that my childhood, my mom being extremely supportive is what has shaped the way I relate to these kids, because I don't want to spoil them, but I feel like every child deserves the basics, and these basics are being able to get what they need as they grow up.
Thank you very much. That was quite personal and emotional. Thank you for opening up that to us. Yeah.
Thank
So
you.
I would really like you to tell us what um finding self-awareness was like to you, like self-awareness and realization. How was that journey or section of your life?
You know, there's something where they say you learn from other people's mistakes. So I feel like growing up, I'm very mindful of other people. So seeing things in others and then having to reflect and say, oh, maybe somebody said something to me that I didn't like. And then I'm like, oh, do I do that to others? You know, trying to self-reflect and be sensitive. Because even my mom, I remember even growing up, we would have disagreements and she would say something. I'd be like, that's not nice. Don't say that to me. So and then me also having to adapt that and be like, somebody said that to me. I didn't like it. So I'm not going to repeat that. So I'm not going to make them feel a certain way. And yes, going back to these kids is me always having to tell them, because they work with state officials, they work with government officials that will literally say your head is not correct, you're mad, are you not a foolish child? And I'm literally always having to try and stop it, and then tell these kids that, like, even yesterday we were doing homework because they're on holiday now, and I promised them that I will come once during the holiday, because there was parents' day on Friday, so I had to do like being parent, checking their books and stuff, and they said they had homeworks and projects. So I took the day off work yesterday to go to the center, and we went to the market, bought everything we needed for, I didn't go with everyone, obviously. I go with like a couple of them. We buy everything we need and then come back, and then they have to do it. So I go back on Sunday before they resume. But one of them were doing this. I had to do his assignment first. And he said, and talk with me, I'm not a good boy. And I was like, don't say that. That's not true. And then I had to speak to him and explain to him that we all make mistakes. You're not here because you're a bad child. I mean, you lost your mom, because he lost his mom 5 years ago, and he faced some issues and then was taken and brought into the system. So I had to explain to him that and speak positively to him, which is what I always try to do to them. So I think self-awareness is just seeing things in others that hurts, people doing things to you that hurt you, and you making sure that you don't do the same thing to others. And then obviously seeing things that make you smile, and you making sure you also try to do that as best as you can for others.
Yeah, thank you very much. You kind of reminded me of myself when I was young. It actually
Yes.
affected me, like all the kids around, in school and at home, they usually abuse yeah, bye. So I
Mhm.
wasn't brought up
Yeah.
like that though. So I got kind of I had to take myself out of their midst, and that really affected my indigenous speaking actually. So I can relate to that. Like I didn't like all those sort of insults and all those things. Yeah.
No, it's not good. It's not good. And I think for my mom was very minimal because I think she got that from my grandma. Because I know like my grandma, even when she got upset, she'll say, "Don't let me curse you." But that's the worst that she'll say to you. So I think that's how she raised my mom. So my mom never had the habit of saying things to us. But then you go to school, you hear your classmates saying stuff that their mother said, and I'm like, that's not nice. But
Mhm.
yes.
Yeah. So I really like to get to know how your career choice selection how it all happened. Like, okay, you had a background, I know you had several things aside from just being like someone who's passionate about other people and other things, but you had other influences that
Yeah.
suggested, oh, do this, do that. But how did you just manage to say, okay, this particular one is the one I'm going to pursue, and this is what I'm going to do? How did you come to that point?
It's the funniest story that my siblings tell me every time. But apparently, when I was 4 years old, I was in love with my teacher, my class teacher, Teacher Oge. I thought she was the most important and amazing person in the world. So I would come home and tell everyone that me, I want to be a teacher like Teacher Oge. And then my siblings lost their minds because I'm the youngest, and they were like, "Lai, teachers are poor, they are horrible people, they are wicked." I guess that was their perspective of teachers. And so they insisted that I could not be a teacher. And then they said that a few months later, shortly after my 50th birthday, I came home and said, "Oh, yeah, I'm going to be a lawyer." And that was it. It's crazy. And I still don't know. I don't know why. I don't remember why I would say that at 5 years old, but I've stuck to that, and I don't think I've ever looked back and felt like I wanted to do anything else besides also still wanting to be a teacher, obviously, because yeah. So everything I did was towards being even in secondary school. I told everyone I'm going to law school. I'm going to be a teacher. I'm going to be a lawyer. Sorry, but I still want to be a teacher. So the good thing about being a lawyer is that you can teach
Yeah,
law.
that's
You
true.
can teach law.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, my boys always say I'm a good teacher when I help with homework. They literally always say it, and I'm like, yes, I want to be a teacher.
That's great. That's great. Really, um, it's it's very inspiring, really. So yeah, I think at this point I'll just let Kule ask all the two questions. Kule, over to you.
Wow, that was very insightful hearing from you, Tope. And then I believe there are still many more to actually hear by the time we are asking other questions. So I want to actually talk more on the career part because there's still this stereotype in our society that parents actually dictate to children which kind of the paths as they choose when it comes to choosing career paths and
Mhm.
without actually looking into maybe the child, the talent the child has or something like that. So what is your take about this? Should we actually, because sometimes we also believe that these people, the parent, they've seen almost everything and uh, they actually want the best for their children and then they want them to actually choose a good career and all the stuff. And at the same time, I mean, the natural talent is also speak a lot when it comes to what career paths a child should actually pursue, and so that it can actually excel or whatever they want to do. What do you think about these two? I mean, aligning these two together.
Um, Honestly, I think you can't blame the parents because they are talking from a place of fear. And I mean, the presumption, at least the presumption, because I work with a lot of these parents, a lot of kids that the presumption is always that the parents typically want what's best for you. So I think they come from a place of fear, the fear that, oh, if they do something in this line of work, they will be poor, and especially parents that come from disadvantaged backgrounds. Their main entire goal, is to get their kids out of that situation. For example, my mom didn't go to university, my dad didn't either, but all six of us my mom made sure we all went to university and were masters and all of that. So I think for a lot of the parents that try to push children in a certain way, is out of fear and the desire that the kids do better than them and have a great future. And they're unable, but it's also a narrow-minded mindset because they are unable to see beyond what they know. This is why, like they say, many African parents and Asian parents, all their kids have to be doctors, lawyers. There's like 5 careers that they can have, But I feel like there's also the side of passion and them realizing that the parents also have to be sensitive to the children, because if you can't force somebody, and I would be open and honest and say, my mom even knew this from a very young age. If I say I don't want to do something, you cannot force me. Like, you can tie me and beat me up and like not that, but I'm just saying that, like, you can lock me in the container for 10 years and I will not do it. So that's your business, So, and there are some kids that are amenable to direction. So if the parents say, oh, do this, do that, they'll do it. But they may not be happy. They may be sad for most of their life, and then they may be those people where they finish law school, because a lot of my friends that we finished law school together, I think like 1% of them, like, because I had like a group of 10 friends, and I think it's just me and somebody else that are still lawyers till today. Most of them are doing other things, arts, event planning, different things. So I feel like, yes, the parents come out of fear, but there's also the love thing. But the kids also need to make an attempt to explain to the parents that, look, this is what you want for me, but this is what I want for myself. And I need you to respect that and understand that if they can. And if the parents don't understand that, just be rebellious and let your success answer explain to them in the future.
Yeah, I quite agree with that. Like, I agree with that really. But then there was one beautiful thing I actually picked up from what you said previously in terms of you saying I'm gonna be a lawyer. I'm gonna be a lawyer. I'm a teacher, and eventually you turned out a lawyer and a teacher. What's the place of words of affirmation and self-motivation in the actual outcome of a child or a teenager or even a youth's future? What's the place? Is it something that works all the time? Is it something that can actually guarantee people to attaining success, or can people actually attain success even without saying to themselves, I'm going to be this, I'm going to be that? What's the difference?
I think words of affirmation are actually very, 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 very important. And just to highlight, they didn't tell me what to be. They just said, you can't be a teacher. And then I thought of, I guess, and came up with my alternative to being a teacher. But I think words of affirmation are very important, because I wouldn't say that, yes, I've always wanted to be a lawyer, but I wouldn't say that there were times where I didn't just want to give up, because going to school, studying, writing exams is not easy. So you always need to remind yourself why you're doing something, why you want to do something. And I'll always say, have people around you that help you to see your vision, because, like, the truth is, it's easier to say negative things to yourself than to say to others. And that's why when people advise you about your mental health, they say, talk to yourself like you would a friend. Like, you wouldn't go to your friend and say, oh, you're not smart, you're foolish, you're this. But you will easily say to yourself, like, you genuinely sit down, write a paper, maybe get 8/20, and literally sit down and be like, you are the stupidest person in the world. Yes, you don't even know anything. But you wouldn't say that to a friend, because if your friend came and said, oh, I got 8/20, you literally be like, come on now, you're very smart. It was just a mistake. What did you do wrong? Let's sort it out. So yes, talk to yourself like you would a good friend. Always try to affirm yourself. Be positive. If you need to read inspirational stuff, do it. Obviously, there's too much motivation out there. Like, I'm tired of motivation. I feel like I've had enough motivation for my life, so I'm okay. But as you come up and you're still getting older, I think you need to find motivation. So whether it's in your religion or in a motivational app or a motivational page on social media, I think you need to remind yourself, because you kind of have to, like, renew your strength every morning, per se. And there's also a lot of comparison out there, because it's one thing for you to feel great about yourself, and then you maybe you wake up, you get dressed, and you're like, oh, I look amazing, and then you get to the office and you see somebody that looks more amazing, and then you feel sad. So you have to say, well, me, I'm sure awesome by myself. That's his business, you know. So I think it's very important to always have words of affirmation. Remember why you did this, why you're doing this, and if you can have like an idea of where you want to be in 5 years, 10 years, 20 years time, I think that always helps to give you a big picture, because sometimes when you have the small picture, you get lost in the small picture. But when you have the big picture, it's always good, because you'll be like, okay, well, I've done 1, 2, 3 out of everything that I need to do, and I'm still taking the next step. I don't have to do 10 things at once. I can just do one at a time, because I know that everything adds up and builds up over time.
Yeah, like from the Desiderata, say be gentle with yourself, like be at peace with yourself.
That's my favorite poem. It's on my
Wow.
wall. Yes, go placidly.
Yeah,
Yes.
so placidly because disturbs.
Yes.
Yeah,
That's
I
my
mean the
favorite.
noise and haste. Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah, go placidly abuse the noise and haste. Yeah.
Yes. I
So
mean,
talking about motivating factors, what
mhm.
would you say tops your charts of motivating factors? The things that kept you going, even life definitely will come as challenges. Like ordinarily writing an examination is like a challenge, but it depends
Yeah,
on
yeah.
how you see it. What were your motivating factors that turned your challenges into opportunities?
This sounds very conceited, but making myself proud was always my motivating factor. Because I feel like if I wasn't proud of myself, then I wasn't it wasn't enough motivation. I've never been a people pleaser type thing, so it's always been, is this what I really want? And from the get-go, like I said, because I had that period of time where my family was disadvantaged. Even when I wanted to apply to law schools and all of that, my essays had always been, I saw what disadvantage meant. Thank God my mom was lucky enough to, earn a living and stuff. But I saw other children in the same situation that couldn't. And I really just want kids to have the best life. And so my motivating factor, right? Yeah, so my motivating factor is I want to help people have better lives. Even if it sounds like a people pleasing type thing, I think everyone deserves the best life. Like no one deserves injustice. Everyone deserves the best life. And whatever I can do in their plan to get the best life, then I will do it.
Oh, wow, that's very lovely. Um, this kind of selfless service, not personal, not seeking your personal um desires, but others. And really, this I find as a key factor. It plays a very key role in discovering who you really are and what you're supposed to do actually. Yeah, yeah. So I would really like you to say something about interaction, um, relationships, emotional intelligence, most especially in schools, in the marketplace for those persons who are already working. How do people actually um manage this kind of things? Because as human beings, we are different. We have different characters. We come from different backgrounds. We have different personality types and emotions. So how do you advise would be best, to maintaining healthy interpersonal interactions, even amongst colleagues, or let's just take it like this, between people that are your superiors at within any environment you find yourself, and those your equals and those your juniors. How do you handle that?
Um, for me, I think it's the golden rule, and I take that very seriously. Do unto others how you like to be treated. And I think if you want to have a good friend, I think you have to be a good friend. If you want to have a good partner, you have to be a good partner. And that has always worked for me, because I feel like in everything, in every relationship, my honesty, my selflessness, my thoughtfulness, these things have gone a long way to maintaining the friendship, the relationship, the family, my family, and also make time. I think you always have to prioritize people, not because of what they can do for you, but because of that's what you want to do, you know? And try not to burn. So my thing is, as young people, sometimes it's easy to just not like somebody and then treat them negatively. And I mean, obviously you can't help it, it happens. But I think there's also the ability to be able to try to get along with people that I think the default for me is I think people are genuinely good. Until you do something mean and bad to me, then obviously I'll cut you off. But so you try to be good to others, be nice to them. Any small thing, you're standing in line, the person's t-shirt is unbuttoned. Your t-shirt, how are you doing? Just try and be social, because when it's not, you don't have to wait until you're looking for work to start networking. The truth is, even if you're in primary 7, your classmates may end up being the person that is the biggest key factor in you getting jobs in the future. You just never know how things will turn out. So I feel like classmates, older classmates, younger classmates, for me, they're more important than your teachers. I think you should maintain very good relationships with them over time. If they are good people, obviously. If they are terrible people, then make sure you cut them off, because mental health, very important. But like I said, your classmates are very important. Your schoolmates are very important, because these are the same group of people that you are going to spend most of your time with in the future, whether as opponents or in the same and on the same side. And they would also play a big role in how you develop and grow over time. And it's always nice, because even as a lot of people that have like long-term friendships, you can't even duplicate that when people have like long-term genuine friendships that have built up over time, and they end up being your mentor, even though they are the same age. They end up being your advisor, they end up being your therapist, they end up being your director, in everything. And I think that's what we need to leverage on, more than trying to get one a CEO of one company or one president of one association to mentor you and stuff. I think you also need to leverage on your peers. And I think that's very important. Even for me with my law firm, because we started last year, it's crazy, because it's like most of the work and most of what we are doing and the open doors are coming from our peers from uni, secondary school that we've known for years. And it was just us talking to them, trying to see, oh, do you need this? Do you need this? And they're like, yes. And then they spoke to other people. And it's always nice, because when people even reach out, they're like, I remember Tope from school. She was intelligent, she was nice, she was friendly. And they were happy to come back and give me work, But imagine if I wasn't that kind of person.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Good relationship really can go
No,
so far. Yeah, into the future.
yes.
Yeah, I would really like you to, as a round of throw some light to managing uncertainties and managing stress, because this is very important, when it comes to life generally and careers and whatever you want to do. So what will you say about managing uncertainties and managing stress?
Um, I think disappointments are inevitable, and you need to accept that the disappointments will come. It may be regular, it may be irregular, but it's a natural part of life. Setbacks are also natural part of life. So you may have a high, and then at a point you have a low, but it's how you deal with it. You have to remember that you are your own person, and you're bigger than your failures, even your successes. You are. And so if you try to separate yourself from outcomes, it really helps, because it's people that can't, and this is a very sad thing to say, but it's people that can't separate themselves from outcomes that tend to do drastic things when bad things happen to them. So you need to be able to separate yourself from outcomes and say, this is not who I am. So me failing this exam is not who I am. I am so much more than that. And also seeing beyond that and realizing that, like people will say, something that you thought was so big today you may not even remember it's exactly a year from today. You may not, and I mean, you have no idea what even happened like 2 years from now. And we need to, if you learn that habit of separating yourself from those things, it will be easy for you to adapt and improve. So learn from those mistakes, obviously. If you fail your exam, the best thing is to analyze it. Oh yeah, number one, why did I get it wrong? What did I do wrong? Oh wow, it was this little thing. And you improve, But if you don't try to learn from it, you may not improve. You keep making the same mistakes, and then by, like they say, a fool at 40 is a fool forever. So you have to keep learning from the mistakes and then realizing that I am me, and external factors, because life is just full of people trying to put you in boxes and categorize you. Even exams is to categorize you and say, you are smartest, you are not the smartest, you are this and not this. But you need to separate yourself and say, this is who I am, regardless. Because the A students, yes, they do well. The B students do well. The C students do well. Even the F students, they end up doing well. Nobody remembers that, this person came last in 1995, but here he is, CEO of a company. Like, honestly, if you actually dove into like reading the backgrounds of a lot of successful people, you will find that a high percentage failed at some point in their life. Well, actually, maybe almost all of them failed at some point in their life, and that failure did not define them. And
Yeah,
you letting it define you basically makes it your story. Because if you literally sit around and say, I failed this, I failed, and that's all you do, that's what people remember, because that's what you keep telling them. That's what you're making your personality type thing.
Wow.
Yeah, very true. Like the fear of failure shouldn't be anybody's problem. You know, it's not
Yes,
really
you
do or
should
die
face it.
affair. It's not a do or die. Life is an experiment, actually. I will keep running tests until we get the accurate values that suits us. So it's not a do or die affair. Everyone should always remember to remove themselves out of the picture. Whatever
Yeah,
you get today doesn't determine your final outcome, and that's the truth. It's not a do or die affair. So everybody should be calming down. And
absolutely.
really, this is the best way to manage stress.
It
When
is.
you know,
Really,
when you know it's not a do or
but
die
yes.
affair,
Yeah, I
you
didn't
just
address
you
the stress thing, but yes,
yeah,
you're right. My answer covers both questions.
yeah. Thank you very much. So Kule, over to you.
Yeah, we really appreciate your time with us. We value it so much. And before we quickly round up, I would like to actually kill two birds with one stone. Quickly, I want to ask how you actually source for information, because there is popular saying that talents are everywhere, but opportunities are limited. So how do you get the limited opportunity? How do you source for time for information? That's one. And I want you to the departing word for our viewers. Your departing words. Thank you.
All right. So I don't know who told me or whatever, but there's like categories of information. So there's like your primary sources, your secondary sources and stuff. And when I mean primary sources, I mean look around you, your mom, your dad, your cousin, your friend, talk to them, ask them one or two questions. You'll be surprised what some people know. So if it's that you need a job, ask around you, start with people around you, persons around you. And then the secondary will be going online, LinkedIn, Indeed, all this. Twitter is also very good with jobs, search with keywords. Yeah, and then just also putting yourself out there. If you can create a LinkedIn with a good profile, put it out there. If there are other websites where you can put your professional life out there, make sure you do it. Yeah, so I think that's it. I mean, getting information, like I said, it's just starting from close friends and then moving up from there to the others
All right.
online generally. And then my closing words is try to be happy. Life is not too hard. Life is not to be difficult. I think life is to be genuinely be enjoyed. And if you need to take a day off, do it. Don't compare yourself to others. Know that have your own, basically try to have your own bubble and say, this is what I'm content with. And this is what I'm going to try to achieve for myself, regardless of whether other people are doing it or not. This is me and this is what I want. So knowing your purpose, there's this thing the Japanese call ikigai. So if you can Google it and try to do those circles and figure out what is your ikigai, I think that would also help. So yeah, that's really it. And just be happy, enjoy life. If it's that you need to buy, and when you achieve something, celebrate it. If it's as small as, oh, you got an A, buy biscuits, buy sweets, and just celebrate it and celebrate the small wins and the big wins.
All right. Thank you very much.